I know that that there is a lot of effort to begin to regulate AI in the US, and you were part of the Biden administration's recent meeting on it. There is another meeting coming up, I believe, in next week, in fact, about that is being hosted by Chuck Schumer, where he's gathering AI representatives, including Elon Musk and Sam Altman. Um, from what I understand, you are not part of that group that's meeting next week. So if you were there, what do you think that lawmakers and executives should focus on?
So, look, I think the good news is that lawmakers are moving faster than we've seen them move in any other situation previously, right? So I think it's a good thing that, regulators are really paying attention, they're alert to it, and they've learned the, lessons of the last sort of 10 or 15 years or so of, not being, quick enough, I think, to regulate and to oversee some of the past waves of technology in big tech. I think in this situation, the key thing that we've got to focus on is making sure that the AIs are transparent and accountable. So you should be able to understand, what has this model been trained on? Which data was, included versus excluded. I think that's an important signal. And a lot of people will care about that. But I think you've also got to observe the outputs, right? So we need ways of auditing, when it makes mistakes, how frequently, and when it says things which have the potential to cause harm. So, I think if it is coaching somebody to break the law, or if it is like encouraging and inciting violence, those things are, I think, relatively measurable, and really should be excluded. And we have to be able to find ways to have independent regulators be able to test for those kinds of things. I think the good news is that there's going to be a commercial incentive to drive towards safety, right? So the big companies do not want to create experiences which are harmful or damaging, and certainly don't want to create experiences that encourage people to break the law. And so, we've actually got to just get good at observing the outputs of these models. If you take a look at Pi, our AI, for example, which you can try at pi.ai or on the App Store, it's very, very safe. None of the existing jailbreak mechanisms or the prompt hacks or all the ways that people have been developing over the last, 6 to 9 months or so to try to, trick these models and undermine them, none of them work on Pi. And many people have tried, and it just shows you that if you really try to lead with a safety first approach, then you can make a lot of progress. If you try to encourage Pi to be racist or, homophobic or sexist in some way, then it's actually going to be pretty resistant, and it will do so in a really polite and respectful way. It won't judge you or belittle you. It won't just give you a stock phrase saying, I can't talk about this, which is what a lot of the other AIs will do. But it will ask you, why do you think that? Where are those thoughts and feelings coming from? What makes you worried about that? Can you imagine what it might feel like for the other side? So it's deliberately trying to encourage respect and empathy for others. I think that that's a demonstration that as these models get bigger and we get better at understanding them, they actually get safer and more controllable. And that's an important story. And people can verify that. It's not just my claim. You can actually go and test the experience that we've built, and actually see if you can induce it to say something which is biased or harmful or toxic or potentially causes harm in any way. And so, I think that the incentives are aligned here because there's a commercial interest to try and do it. But at the same time, that's never going to be enough. And we've seen that in the past many times. So we need regulators to be technical and proactive and competent. And really, I think we're starting to see that in the space, which is good.